And you see the screen for the recorded for the disclaimers, and so we have them posted. And so let's see, share screen.
Euro USD took quite a pump last night, eh?
That was
See
quite a
that?
nice little. That was a quite nice little run, and we'll be taking a look at that here this morning. Here, the last alert we had was at 5:45 with the Euro USD. We had a couple. That was the last one we had. It's at 8 o'clock now, and there's still no new alerts. So I guess we're gonna have to go and do some replays with the old one. So let's go and take a look at this. Actually, I had the US yen. That was one that I have. I was already queued up for a replay. And because can everybody see my screen?
Yeah, it's working fine.
Okay, good. So I have this set up for replay. You see the O line, the old dot line is where the alert was, and I'll show you where I drew my wedge. I came back here. It was an ascending wedge. So I came back here just before the session break yesterday to start my A. Came up to the next pivot high for my B. My C was the next pivot low, which is just a little bit higher than my A, which is the ascending part of this alert. And then I took my D and as close to the wedge as I could. And that's how I drew that. So now I'm going to go to my 1 minute chart. I have it all drawn on 1 minute chart. I have it on a replay. And just keep in mind that where the alert was, you have a 2 minute Fibonacci line. These are significant levels of where we need things to kind of break. Now, one thing I was looking at that we've been having a little bit of trouble with these last couple of days is we get these breakouts, and by the time you get it breaks out, you get our 2% zone that we have, we look at, and let me draw my entry zone. There's my entry zone right here. It breaks out, it comes up, it gets us in the trade, and it comes back and immediately takes us back out and goes whipsaws us on the other side. So I'm looking to see if I can get a little bit tighter entry in here. And so as I was looking at the trending on the Euro US yesterday, I was looking at the basic price action analysis of you don't have a higher low as it's trending. You have higher lows, lower highs, higher lows, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. Well, when we see where we start getting the break, and we can see where in order to get a close above this candle right here before the break of the wedge, we need to get a close above that. So that's one part. The other part is that on the bottom, as it's starting to reverse, as we had a little pivot low and it reverses, we have a 3 candle. When you look at this 3 candle zone right in here, and I like looking at a 3 candle formation. If I can draw one of these. We have a 3 candle formation that we look at where we have this 3 candle, we have a low and 2 higher lows on either side of this candle. So basically what happens is once it breaks the top of this red candle right here, this blue candle right here, that came up and touched the wick. Once it's crossed that now you have a higher high, you have a higher low, which is this low right here. And you have a higher close, which was a higher close from the previous candle, which was this red one. So that begins the trend of a higher high, higher low, higher close. And as we progress with this, you see it came back down. Right now it's retesting this. So this is still where this whole bottom of the wick. So right now, this candle, you can't move the low until you get a higher high now. And we had this zone right here. This was basically where our zone was. We had the break. We're still looking for a break up here. But we still have, and this is where my stop zone it tends to be, is that the higher high and then the next pivot low below that. This came back down. So we're still not in the trade. It hasn't broken the top of the wedge. We're waiting for it to break the top of the wedge. Still nothing, still nothing. Now we start the process all over again. Come over here. Now we have a lower low and a lower high. So we can put it up around, we'll still keep this area here. Now it looks like it's kind of trying to come out the bottom. Now we have the break at the top. So this is our whole new range that we're looking at. We had the close above, it broke into the range. This was a huge candle. And now this is our new higher low. So now the question is, can we take the trade off of this candle right here? And if you look at your range marker, you see, well, if I got in right here, I'm going to give it my pip. My stop would have to be all the way down here at 11 pip stop. It's more than our 7. Our 7 would have been right over here, probably be right about where we originally started trading this thing. Basically, this took all the stops. And what I'm looking at doing is once you get a break above, a clean break, close into the zone, wait for a little bit of a red candle, just something that turns red, but it would need to go with this candle like this. I wouldn't want to see it go much more below here, but I still have my stop all the way down here. And this would give you a chance to maybe get a better entry with now breaching the lower low. And now we have a higher high, higher low, higher close to this candle. So this is actually right now, this is a pretty good spot right now where you could be fairly comfortable being in that trade if you took it off of this big blue candle that first breached into the zone. Took a little bit of heat there, and now we're off to the races, and we're already up to our target 1. And this would have been a nice way to get into that trade yesterday. That happened right at, let's see, oh, this was a 5:45 this morning. That was this morning. So that was after the market closed. Had the midnight during the night. London opens up, and now it's taken off to the races again. And you can see that it's still moving up higher. At least I believe it did. Came back down, retested the wick, and that's where we are today, right now. So that's that one. Any questions about this?
Yeah, the market's been doing some pretty special moves the last couple of days,
Yeah,
my friend.
well, they had the quantitative easing announcement with the U.S., and so all the currencies against the dollar are getting stronger, and the dollar is getting weaker. I think that's pretty much what's happened. So that was that one. So we can go to we have an Euro US. We have one of these. This was at, actually, let me go ahead and adjust this so I can get a replay on this. Actually, I do have a replay on this, I think. 5:45, yep. I have this one already set up too. So here we go. When I drew the wick, here's the announcement. I'm going to tuck this in here a little bit. I started from the, actually, let me just draw this one out. When we had this wick, it was a descending wedge. So I started my way up here. I had to find a place where right now the triangle is going in the wrong direction. So I had to come to, so it was descending. I want to use this pivot high after the day open, and I wanted to tuck it as close as I could. So that was my descending part. But now I want to get the triangle to flip over to the other side, and you'll see that it's not gonna flip until I get a little bit closer to where that D is. And so then I just brought it on over to where I found the last rally. You can see this is a little bit of a rally. It rallied, had a nice little one single red candle, and then it took off again. And so that's why I used that point right there for my triangle. And here's my area. Come to a 1 minute chart. I'll tuck it in as tight as I can. Find my A, which is right here. I'll tuck this one in. And I said we found our B, which was all the way, this was yesterday, so we're going to eliminate this one so it doesn't confuse us. That was one I had last night. And over here is B, so you can see where this, as I spread this out, you can see where this candle is right at the bottom where it pulled back right in there. And there was my wedge. Here's my replay. Let me spread this out a bit so you can see a little bit better.
I like how you made the bottom flat as well. That's what I've liked.
Yeah. Oh, you mean the top? The bottom. Yeah, there wasn't much I could do about that.
Yeah.
But I like
No,
having.
exactly.
Yeah. And this was a nice big move, but we didn't get the alert until right here. I mean, this thing moved. Oh my gosh, it moved from here to here. That was 26 pips before you even got the alert. So they're saying this thing's still trending. That's pretty much what it was boiled down. So we're expecting it's going to break to the upside. And here again, we're looking at a couple of things here. It's been trending, and you can see it's been making higher highs, higher lows, higher high. Now we have an engulfing candle here, which we have this red candle couldn't break out of the top of this blue one, couldn't break out of the bottom of it. So this blue one does give us a higher high. And we also have it where we needed to close and break and close into the wedge. Remember, we said, in spite of how we look at this, we still wanted a blue candle to close inside or above, break the wedge and close. So if it breaks and closes just barely, we're looking at a distance of roughly 3 pips. So that's a pretty tight stop. And so let's see what happens here. We're looking here, and the euro is nice spread. And I say we like to have a 3-point spread. This is a 3-point spread on the 1-minute chart. I'm not sure what it is on the 15. I can't really do that with the replay. But we have a 3-point spread on the euro. Euro is the first of the pair, going stronger. And we're going to play this thing one by one and see what happens here. Now, right now, it still hasn't made a new low. Right now, we have a little bit of a wedge building right in this area right now. We had the break. So now we have so now what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be reversing this. Okay, we have a high, a lower high, a lower high, and a lower low because it broke this candle. So now these are reversed. So I'm just going to, so rather than looking at it going to the upside, we're looking to come down to the downside. Lower low. I'm going to take this one, slide it down. And now it looks like it may be trying to go back to where the wedge was. One more time. And now we have a dueling candles here. So we have we don't have a lower low. We don't have a higher high. Actually, this candle is absolutely the same. So everything stays the same right now. Okay, now we have now it broke this high. So now we have since this candle got broken, I can take this and bring this one down here. So now we have a higher high, higher low, higher close to the previous candle, and now we're moving back to the upside. We're still waiting for the trend for the wedge to break. Next candle. Well, we have a higher high, a higher low, and we still have a higher close. So now I can move this one on up to there. And I would just move it up into this range. I'll move it right there. I just took this one over there. Next candle. Well, took it out. So right now, we have nothing. So now now becomes the previous low. This was still broken. I'll take that over here. This is just a test of this whole zone here. Now we have an engulfing candle. We have a red candle. This candle closed inside of this red candle. So we have no direction right now. Came back, it still hasn't broken through the bottom here. But we do now have a lower high and a lower low from here, but still hasn't broken this. Retested that. We're still not in any trade. We're just trying to watch the price action for when it breaks the top. Inside candle. Still don't have a lower low because here was a very low. It came right down, tagged it, and now it hasn't. We don't have a higher high because it hasn't broken this one yet. Okay, now we have a higher high. We have a higher low, and we also have a break of this one. Now we slide it back over, and now we can take this and pull this one up to that one. We still don't have a break of the wedge. Actually, the wedge it just came right up to the wedge and it didn't break. Next candle tells the story. Boom, there it is. Okay, I would be okay at entering right on this candle. Now I would measure it, see where we have. We know we have 2 pips from here to the top of the wedge. So there's 2 pips. You're still within your 7 pip zone, which should be right about in here. So this would be where your stop is, and you can enter the trade. Which is pretty much at the close of this candle. Enter to buy. So you have your stops in place. You know where this is your stops, and this is the one that broke, came up. This would have been a little bit aggressive. Nice thing I like about this candle that just tagged it. There's no wick on it at all. It just came right up there and just stopped. And you see, there's no wick on the bottom of that. So there would have been nothing wrong at all with entering with such a strong candle like that. You could have entered on that one because again, there's no wick. It just came up. That means it's just stopped. It just got the last trade and it's just proceeding on. So either one of those would be fine. Comes back in, retest it. Retest it again. Retest it again. And now we have a higher high. We're off to the races. See a lot of buyers and sellers are fighting it out in here. You're still in the trade, still no reason to get out. Retest the top of this. I remember I said yesterday if everyone was still around, where we're looking at the Fibonacci retracements. If you go from low to high and come back and see what the pullback is, oftentimes if you have a good trending move, this pullback won't be more than it'll stay within that 38% pullback. And that's right where I have this white and green line. That's about 40. The green line's the white one's at 40%, the other one's at the 38.6, the 38.2. So if you can get this thing to where it doesn't pull back any more than this zone right here, you're still, the odds of it going up higher to this area is pretty high. Now if it breaks that, then all bets are off. And as I drew that, I drew it to this is a 1-to-1 retracement. I just sort of back it off about halfway. I split the difference. A lot of times you'll see it go up to 78 and pull back, or the 61.8 and pull back. But more often than not, it'll still eventually get to the 1-to-1. Back up, and there we go. And that was the big push that we had. And you can see that 1 minute candle took out That was this is one reason why a lot of times when I enter my trades with my stop, my target, I have a 15 pip target initially, just for this very reason, so that if it pulls up and just spikes up like that in that 1 minute, I can catch my 15 pips, which is twice as much as what I normally would have. And that's the way we entered that trade. And the rest is history. You know, everyone knows how, if you watch the charts, you can see this thing just kept on rocketing up, but just blew right through that 1 minute chart there. And you can see how it's still following. If you're willing to just go for the run, keep your stop. Now your stop is down, and you're just looking at higher highs and higher lows. You have now it needs to get a higher high than this one. So right here, this was a higher high than this whole region right here. So we have a higher high, higher close, and a higher low. So you can move this. I would move it down to the bottom of this whole little zone right here, just in case, like for this one, it came back to retest it. So this created its own little zone right in here. Then you move again. Higher high, higher low, higher close. Now I can move it up to here and here. Higher high, higher low, higher close. I can move it on up to here. Keep moving one of these wicks. You have a higher high, you have a higher low, but you don't have a lower low. So they just have to wait and see. That's our neutral candle. There's a higher high, another big push. I can move this one to there. Not a higher high, higher low, and a lower close. I'll keep everything just the same. And we still have a higher low, so it's starting to form a little bit of a wedge in itself right there. And here's where we would have gotten out, and it's also tested this. But you could see if you just followed it all the way up, you're not going to catch the peak, but you got within. You gave up 6 pips, basically, from the peak. But you never know. But also, if you had gotten out here, you have given up a lot more because you have gotten out here and you have picked up an extra 6 or so pips. So that's the trade-off. Either take your profits, or if you're going to let them run, this would be a way to let them run to be able to. You picked up an extra 8 pips. Now the other thing is a lot of times you say we try to maintain this as long as this doesn't break this moving average, this 13 moving average. Maybe you've been out, and you've been glad you did. You still don't want to be taking it short yet because everything is still, actually right now on the 1 minute is showing that this dollar is now becoming stronger. So that's one reason why this thing's starting to break down. And you could reverse the positions if you were aggressive enough. You could reverse it to say, okay, here's a lower high from this one. This was a lower low, lower high, lower low, and you can move it over here. This one's lower still. You can just keep bouncing them around. This one's lower still. You can bounce it around. And so right now you have your zone. Everything stays stable. And now you'd be out of that short. And you're not getting that much move. With such a strong move up, it's going to retest. And now you would question is, do I want to try and get back in again, knowing that you're only about 6 pips away from up here? There's your 7 pips. If you have And here's your Fibonacci mark. You can see right where it came up, hit that green mark. Remember, these are 7 pips apart. Came back to the blue area. Let's retested the blue area. And I'll see now if it's, so now if you want to be looking to go long again, reverse positions, create your stop zone. You need to get a higher high from here. Here broke the red candle. This one tried to, couldn't really break it. Inside candle, and then this one broke. So now you have a, based on this area, you have a higher high, but you're still going to have to worry about getting through all this because this is where the last high was. And you can see that one wouldn't have worked. And now we're all the way back down to our 1 minute. And I'll just go and play this out and we'll see if we have any other questions. You
Not
can
a
see how it's
whole
just,
lot.
no, it's
It's
really quiet.
been,
I think it's going to be exceptionally quiet today because it's such a big move yesterday. I think is what's going to happen here. So that's the replay of the Euro US. Any questions? Anybody? Feel free to unmute your microphone and ask away if you actually probably, or raise your hand.
no,
Oh,
yeah,
they
they
can't do
can.
that.
No, but they
Yeah.
can, they can ask all their questions inside the
Yeah.
Q&A panel. So that move there, that's a pretty impressive move from Euro USD. I think it's putting a lot of people into peculiar situation. Put it that way. This is
Yeah.
a move that hasn't happened in since like January. It hasn't been this high.
And actually, if you look at, you see, I'm going to put this on a higher time frame chart, and you'll see where this thing. I'm going to go. This is a daily chart. It's broke.
Yeah,
This is March 9th. This was a high from March 9th. It broke that level. So we're going to have to go all the way over to, let's do a monthly chart.
I
And
think
you
it
can
was
see
January.
from a monthly standpoint, you can
Hang on
see
here.
that the high, well, what's the all-time high? This goes way back in February of, this is 2 years ago.
Mm.
And so if we're
No, I
looking to
can't.
see where this thing could possibly go, right now it's stalled right on this one, right on this candle right here. So it's going to have to get through these wicks. So this thing could be looking at probably a potential turnaround point. You always got to wonder how high is it? How high is high? How high is it going to go? What's the potential? What all has been cleaning out? And so right now, this is the high that it needs to break through, and these are all the wicks in this area. So this zone right now, and we're talking on a monthly chart, so this is going to be probably pretty significant. That's 250 pips. And if it gets another 250 pips, then it's looking at this area right here. But it's got 250 pips to get through this zone, so you can expect there's probably going to be a lot of basing in this area.
So we've got another alert there, Brian. Al, sorry.
Oh, good. There we go. U.S.
Yeah, we
Swiss
got a little bit of
830.
action.
Finally. Okay, let's take a look at that one. U.S. Swiss. And we're going to go U.S. Swiss. We're going to clean up our charts. Just get this one on. And I forgot to look and see, was it ascending or descending there, Matt?
I haven't even looked at it yet. I
Oh,
just got
okay.
my little guy that I'm trying to take care of all the wife's upstairs. So let me see here.
Here's 830, and I got it. 830 U.S. Swiss descending. Okay, so we have a descending wedge. So we're going to be starting up high. We're going to be looking at the pivot high and pivot low. So this is going to be the area. It looks like it's already breaking down. But it's descending. We can draw a trend line. This is going to be a significant trend right here. I'm just going to draw a straight trend line on this one.
Yeah, this is a pretty intense sell.
Hang on just a second, folks.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, sorry, it had a phone call. I had to answer that. So okay, so here we have the wedge that came in. This is I'm just using this as a major trend line for this move, and we have another major trend line developing. Well, we control the wedge here, so we're going to start here. It's descending. I'm going to put my A there. I'm going to find a area here and look and see if I can find where 3 pips could. I'd like to try and still stay within the realm of where the wedge was. I don't like that C there too much. I'm just going to bring that C right in line with the top of this top trend line.
Is there a reason that you're not inclined to make it a little bit steeper and try to?
I just I don't like real steep wedges. Now what I may do is I may see where there's a trend inside of that as we get to the smaller time frame. If you have a technique for that, I can see where this is nice and steep right here. Let's just take a look at it here. See with A. I still want to respect, if we make it steeper, I still want to respect this other trend line.
Oh, for sure. I wouldn't ignore the significance of that major trend line because
Yeah,
that's highs from a higher level than a 15-minute, right?
yeah. Let's see what this thing looks like. Let me see if I can see what it looks like on a 5 minute here. I just don't really like these real estate. Although if now we have this upper trend line with this steepness like this is still good. I would be looking at this is going to be the area of the where the wedge is going to be. But if it comes up into it, right now I'm not willing to take a break at this level. Let me tuck this D. It seems to me like this thing's already kind of breaking out of the zone here a little bit, but we'll see. Yeah, this is just so, for lack of a better term, ugly. Let's see,
Yeah,
maybe
on the 1 minute, right?
I have to come down all the way down to this. The CSV up here. This is the other subsequent trend. We had the alert, so I got to bring the D over here. And let's see, we have the Swiss is strong to the US by 2 on the 1 minute. Let's see where it looks like on the 15. Swiss is strong by 3 on the 15 with this. So this thing we're looking at to break out the bottom. Here was the alert. Got to keep the D right over into this area. Now it's only strong by 2. This is strong by 5 on the 5 minute. And as we were talking with our lower highs and lower lows, let's take a look at this, see if this makes sense to do this. If I take this, it'll be in demo to see if we can either prove or disprove a point. So we had a nice strong move. So let's look at the 1 minute chart. Let's just look at the price action of the 1 minute. So here's our wedge. I have a nice decline here, nice, and now we're looking at our lower highs and lower lows. This is pretty much, this will help to either confirm or say we need to go back to the drawing board for this. But here's a pivot high that to break the high, break the wedge, it's got to break this pivot high. It also has to break. We now have a pivot high here, a high here, with a lower lows.
This one has an inverse correlation. There's this pretty special relationship between this one and the Euro USD. So they move in opposite directions. As this one's going down, Euro USD is going up.
Right now, our moving averages are all in line. We have our 62, 13, and 5 on the 15-minute chart. 62, 13, and 5. All the moving averages are in the correct direction. And you can see we're still and as well on the 1 minute chart. You can have this candle, this zone as a stop. You also have the 62 moving average on the 1 minute you can use as another secondary type of stop. You see that's right at the 7 pip mark right here. Let's expand this a little bit. It's back in the wedge. Right now it's in our zone. It breaks here, but it still has to break here to get before I would say it's reversing the trend, because this is your pivot high with a lower low where it broke all this candle here broke 3 1-minute candles going to the upside.
Yeah, that's not insignificant at all.
And the next top, you had a nice long candle here, you had a nice long candle here, you had a nice long candle here. This is the candle that it would have to break in order to break through the wedge. See, now it broke this series, and now you actually have a higher low. This is a reference line. This was a nice steep move coming back to retest this area. The zero retracement is here on this. Start from here. To here. Looking for our 40%, or it's already broken. Not right now, it's all the way up to the 61.8 retracement, which is right where this yellow line is at 61.8, so it came up to almost the 76% retracement.
Could be an interesting move.
Yeah, it could be. Looking at our price action where it came all the way down, and we're looking at our RSIs and see if they're in alignment here. So we had here's a low, here's a lower low, here's a low, here's a lower low. So it's still on trend. It's not, we're not getting any divergence yet on this. Here's a high, here's a high, here's a lower high. Right now, that's still telling me this is still a pullback. Looking at our two other indicators, this one's still showing Swiss strong. This one's still showing Swiss strong by 4, and this one's showing the pullback of the U.S. being strong. If we get this thing to flip back to where the Swiss is now strong on this pullback on the 1 minute, then that would tell me that maybe this retracement is over. And that's so right now I'm looking for a flip over here. The Swiss is stronger on the other 2 time frames.
It could be a little pullback. We'll see what happens. So this is the start of our 5-minute candle, and also the start of our new 15-minute candle. So.
And that's something else you may want to pay attention to is when the higher time frame candles close. So right now, this next 5-minute candle is going to close right over here.
That one's 1 minute, I think.
See, target reference. Yeah. That's going to be right here. That's at 50. That would be the opening of the 8:55. So that'd be. So here's the open of the This is the open of the 5 minute candle. This one closed. This was at 49 or 44. This is the open of the 5 and 15 minute candle. So next one's going to be right over it. We'll say the next 5 minute candle is going to close at 50, open at 850.
So this one here might tag the 1 minute 62 and then take off towards the bottom. So we'll see what happens.
This thing is still showing that on the pullback. Let's see how the other time frames are looking. Swiss is still strong by 3, strong only by 2. I like to see 3 on the 15 on the breakout. Let's keep an eye on the 5 minute chart here. Look at the price action on the 5 minute. Let me unsync this just to kind of clean this up so you can see a little bit better. So this candle right here, this red candle, it got closed above. But see, it still has to get through all these red candles. So we're looking for a reversal somewhere in this area. You see this one had a nice wick above, came back up. So there was some sellers in this zone right here. The thing I don't like is the fact this thing's had such a strong move to the downside. I'd like to see a little bit more of a pullback. I prefer to see this thing maybe break to the upside, but now you have this 62 right here in the way. See where we have, what kind of range we have over here on the 15, see where our target could be. There's like nothing for several days. This could be a nice little move to the downside. There's nothing stopping it once it breaks. It's not for a long period of time. And right now we have an inside candle between the top of this 15-minute wick and bottom. So right now it's trading inside this zone right here, which is from 93.10 to 93. So we have a 9-pip range right now on this 15-minute chart. Let's go back to our 5-minute. We have plenty of room to the upside. Once it breaks, now it still has to retest this 13. All the moving averages are still in the correct direction. And it still can't make a higher high to break this. So this is still our zone right here. And we still have the spread on there. Let's see, we flipped on the 1 minute. We got the Swiss on the 1 minute chart. We got the flip. Back into the wedge. You see the pullback wasn't very much. Here was our entry. Here's our target 1. And now we can sort of follow this thing along. Here's a high. This was broken, so here's a high. High, lower low. So I have to get through this part. Once it breaks through that, it should be heading down to, there's like no place really that I saw anything close to stop it. Still showing a lot of weakness.
I wouldn't say that the picture has changed yet. It seems like it's still.
No, I wouldn't say it does either. It still looks like it has room to the downside. All the moving averages are in alignment. Again, we're still looking for weakness on the dollar. I did have a big down move yesterday, but so right now
Looks to me,
it's just ranging in between this area right here.
yeah, it looks to me like it's forming another little wedge there, Al.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
So why were you, let me ask you this, why were you hesitant at the beginning to take this thing on a live account? I know you took it on a demo, but what was the maybe some of the something maybe that you saw that some other people may have not seen?
There really wasn't anything that I saw other than the fact that I was working with these, as we were doing earlier, the lower highs and higher lows method of trying to get into with the break. And with being one, it was such a steep wedge, which I usually don't draw them quite that steep. And I was still trying to work with this method of trying to mitigate our losses and get those entries without having to wait for it to break way far apart before you get into the trade. And that's why it was more of a demonstration to see how well my demonstration of the lower highs and higher lows was reference to something that a brand new trade. And that's why I haven't had a chance to
No,
really,
that's
I haven't
good.
really had a chance to really uh, have enough experience with actually look. I mean, I've looked at these things a lot over the years, but I haven't really applied that to the wedge strategy that we've been working with.
I know what you mean. Okay.
And that was the only reason why. I do think it's a valid short.
Just based on what you've seen,
Yeah, like I said,
you were
I
hesitant.
do,
And if you're
yeah,
hesitant, don't take the trade, right?
yeah, I do like this secondary wedge that's coming in, but no, it has to come in, coming up. This zone is still valid, and this candle up here is still valid. Actually, this one's more valid now because I'm looking to see where it would break. If we get a strong move where it breaks the wedge, it's going to be this candle right here.
Now we're right at the top of that wedge, just like Price knew exactly where that was going to be.
Well, it's starting to get. That's the third hit of this little trend here. Again,
So
we're still looking at the major wedge, which is what the alert was on. Let me enhance that a little bit.
let's see what happens here.
Just make that one a
From
little
what
bit.
I've seen in the past, the third hit on a trend line is a pretty good trade. So, but nothing's 100% except death and taxes.
Still needs to break through the top. Right now, it's still struggling with the top here. And we have a 2-minute blue candle right here, or 2-minute line.
That's the 1 minute 62 that it's trying to get by. It'd be interesting to see if it tags the wedge and then tags the 62 and goes down, or if that's the reversal point.
Let's see how these are doing. Swiss is still strong by 3 over here, but now 3-point spread there for the Swiss, to the strength of the Swiss. Dollar is stronger, dollar flipped over.
So I was talking to our programmer yesterday about some of the indicators that we use and whatnot, just for just for future. But he was explaining to me about the 3 bar hull moving average. It's a little something special inside there. So maybe later on we'll talk about that.
Okay.
I'm still waiting to hear back from corporate what their stance is and how we can get this to the people.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get an answer to that this week. Okay, Matt, I'm going to ask you do you see a pitchfork possibility here?
Hey, you know what? Let's do that. So
This is another thing to be looking at for reversal patterns and potential trend moves. And this is one of Matt's expertise. This is another little thing to pay attention to. And I'm seeing something that I'm kind of liking here in that regard, if I'm looking at it correctly. So why don't you go ahead and, if you want to share your, if you can draw a pitchfork on this, see what you come up with.
yeah, let's
I
have
have
an
a
idea.
thought.
Let's
I've,
explore a little bit while we're waiting around here.
tell you what I'm seeing
All
here.
right, I'm trying. Oh
This is
yeah,
getting to be
host disabled sharing.
this is getting to be a little bit of a different something to be. I'm kind of looking at this. And here's a median.
That's
See if
weird.
we
It's
get a
saying
bounce.
that I don't have permission to share, which I shouldn't
Oh
need it.
no, I think I need to give it to you.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I
As a
think so.
panelist or whatever?
Yeah. Let's see if I can actually need to get. Uh, maybe some of the share screen. Share. I gotta figure out how to do that.
Yeah, maybe it might not work. Let's find out. Hold
That
on here.
should.
I'm just I'm just trying to find an
I saw
ascending
it.
pitchfork, but
I saw it earlier.
it's such a powerful downward move.
You can't share yet, huh?
Um, nope. What I can do is I can post it in the chat, but
No, I'll see if I can get figure out how to do this here.
yeah, no worries. I'm just maneuvering my charts around to see if I can find something. Because pitchforks are just trend lines on steroids. They're really powerful because when you put them on a swing high and a swing low, you have something that can basically hold price pretty good. I won't. Let me see here.
I'm still trying to figure out how to get you to share here.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So I've only got a downward facing pitchfork. There's not enough data to
I'll tell
make
you what, I'm
a
going to stop share. I bet I can get, if I can stop sharing, maybe that'll get it. Share
maybe.
screen.
Oh, Ruben has something in there. He sent some info.
Let's see, next to the share screen button, it should be a drop menu. Share screen. Oh, there it goes. There it is. All panelists. That's it. Thank you, Ruben. Now you should be able to share your screen.
There is news at 7 Mountain Time. Oh, no, I'm not worried about that. It's not red folder, so I don't really. All right, let's try that.
You should be able to share your screen.
There we go. Check that out. All right. So you guys are going to hear my son in the background. I'm going to try to keep him as quiet as I can, but we'll see. Let's just do this real quick. So if I was to draw something and I wanted to catch like this whole channel, this whole move down, I would look at something like this. Now I don't see enough of like an upward channel to be able to. So this is the pitchfork tool. It's available on MetaTrader 4 as well. Now, what you want to look for when you're drawing pitchforks is you kind of want to have it right on the wick, and sometimes it's see, that's still not okay for me. I don't. All right, so let's take a quick look here. So we'll hide all that stuff around, kind of clean it up a little bit, and then shrink that there. That's all the some of the old alerts that we had. Just doing some back testing, but let's try to ignore that for now. I'm trying to do it on a bigger level so we can have kind of a higher level view of what's happening. Now, you guys might like this. This might be something that there might be a little something here. So this is actually a pretty good pitchfork. You've got a real nice bounce here, and it comes back and it tags here, and it tags here, and it breaks it and tags here, and then it keeps on interacting with the fork, and now it's broken to the bottom. So I'd be interested to see. This kind of tells me that the move is probably going to keep on going down a little bit, but we'll see what happens. Al, you saw something, right? You said you saw something that was interesting.
Well, I was just looking at where it came down to that last hit, that last low, and it was a little bit higher than the previous low, and now it's starting to break to the top of the wedge. But it's also but the top of the wedge is right at the midpoint of the pitchfork that I drew.
Okay. Oh, so you're saying, hold on. This would be a lower time frame.
Yeah, put it on your 5 minute or your 1 minute chart.
Yeah, let's do that. How about that? Let's throw it.
And now it's starting to approach the bottom of the wedge once again after that midpoint hit.
Here. I threw my wedge off of it, so I should have. So you're saying something like this, potentially?
Yeah, because right now it's coming out the bottom of the wedge again, right now.
Yeah, right here.
You can expand that.
Yeah.
Because it had the bottom of the wedge was right at the, it's really, really right where we are right now.
Yeah. See, I do like this because you have a tag here, and here's a tag like 1 pip away, and here you're missing it by 1 pip, and then it rejected the median. The median is kind of your target. If we get a nice bounce on here, that could be the turnaround point if it bounces off the bottom of this line here. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm just going to go check this other pitchfork. It's off a little bit. For a 5 minute, I should be able to have better hits than that. That's kind of. These are also pretty good targets once you get to messing around with them. Let's see here. Oh, that's why. Because when I lined it up, I did it on the 15. I'll use the magnet tool for a little bit. Let's see. Cool. All right. So now, just making that small slight adjustment is going to actually make this much more accurate. And you'd be like, well, that doesn't make sense to me. Well, making these small little adjustments by 1 pip. Now, if you can remember a little bit about what it looked like prior to. Oh, that's way too long. Hold on. Let me shorten that. And then we'll adjust this a little bit.
Right now, we still have strength to the downside of this.
Yeah, that was the other fork. So let's see. So it's right here. It's coming down. Let's see. I'm just checking some things. That Euro USD is really causing me some problems. It's quite the move. So let's go down to the 1 minute. See if we can bring shed some light. And I will try to make this as clean as possible. I don't need that one all the way over there. Yeah, pitchforks are something I absolutely love. I haven't shared a whole lot about them, but here, see, I still like the downward more, way more. This, not really awesome. This, on the other hand, is gonna get me a lot more validation, right? It's just like a trend line, right? The more valid hits you can get on a pitchfork, the more valid they are. So now we're just kind of tuning it a little bit, kind of seeing what kind of compliance I could get out of it. This is okay, and it's coming up. What's that? Did we get an alert?
I think so.
No.
Maybe.
Okay.
No.
We got 45 minutes before the next. So we've got 15 minutes.
15 more. We have 15 more minutes.
All right. Yeah. No. There's not. There's not. I mean, you can put a trend line here, right? Hold on. I'll let it break the bottom there because it's kind of like a pass and check, so that's permissible. And then we've got small little something you can, more like a channel, but we'll see if this breaks that channel.
It looks like it's breaking.
Yeah. Yeah, because this is flipped. Let's go see something real quick.
Okay, well, let's go back to the wedge since it's breaking the top of the wedge. So let me
Yeah.
share my screen again.
Oh yeah, I got my wedge here. If you wanna,
Okay, all right, good.
I always use the trend lines, but see, I have it, that's probably a little different than yours, correct?
Yeah, no, actually, that's pretty much where I had mine.
Oh, surprise! Just gonna check this out here. What do you think here? This one here. USD, CHF. So the CHF is they're battling. They're the two strongest currency pairs at the 5 minute level. We're just gonna see what it has on the even on the 15 minute level. Whoops, wrong time frame. What do we got on the 15 minute here?
It looks like we have a break to the upside of this where we drew the wedge.
Yeah.
And we're going to start trending it following the trend.
Yeah. See, we had that little head fake at the bottom, right? Which we came to the conclusion that if it fakes you out at the bottom, it's probably going to take off in the other direction. Very often, it's very rare that we're going to get faked out of the bottom and faked out of the top. That's really rare. Would you say that, Al?
I would say, well, I've been whipsawed twice already at both ends, but generally speaking, you'll get faked out of the bottom, and then it takes off to the other side. The fact that with such a steep move down and it's starting to break, to maybe retest that.
This is definitely a significant move. This is what do we look at? Have an idea. If we looked at this full move, even this whole run, that's a big retracement here. That was where it breathed, and then it started going back. How much higher is that?
Not to admit, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen since.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Here. Let's do that.
Okay, here we go. You should see my screen again.
Yep. Works fine.
And here is where we had this was the original wedge. And here's where the breakout occurred.
Oh, our wedges were exactly the same.
And so we're still looking at this upper area here as a possible target where this green line is. But we have to get through this part right here first. It's got to get through this, and it's got to get through the C. But in the meantime, we're looking at, we now have a higher high. That's where it broke. And we have a higher low. This is our reference. I still expect we're going to get a bounce off of this up in this area right in here.
And the hull on the 5 and the 15 is now green, eh?
It's on the. I need to check someone. I need to check this, make sure these are right. Someone said something to me about that the other day.
Okay.
Style.
Looks right.
Higher time. Yep, those are all. That looks good. Right now, we're just going to follow this up. We have a higher high, higher low, and we have a higher close to this one right here.
So our session is going to end in the next 9 minutes. So let's.
We'll see if we can get a target set on this.
Yeah, just to have an idea of where it could potentially go or whatnot.
We'll move this down here. I'll move this up here as a target reference.
You see how it's coming back down and it's interacting with that moving average? That's your 13 moving average, is it not?
Yeah, right here. Yep.
Exponential
And we're
moving
starting to get the
average.
cross. We're starting to get the cross of our 5 and cross, but we still have to. They're not in the right direction, but they've also starting to change direction on this 5 minute. I see this. If you went short on this, you probably should have been stopped out, or you should be out by now.
Yeah, I went short on it. I took it right down the chin, so that's the way it works sometimes. See, you can even take wedges and you can put something called harmonic scans on them, depending if you have access to a scanner that you use. You can actually have a combination of a harmonic scan and a wedge pattern. It's there's a whole bunch a person can do with wedges. You see how it's coming back, and it's coming back against the 1 minute 62. So we'll see what goes on here. Coming right back onto the wedge. It made me really smile there, Al, when because I didn't look at your wedge when I drew mine, and then when our wedge is like to the pip, probably not even half a pip difference on both trend lines.
Well, bottom line is we were looking at this pivot high. We had the hit here. We had the hit here, and this was the trend line. And this thing is just getting really down at the very much at the peak of the wedge. So uh, it was going to break one way or the other, and this was where it decided to break. Broke to the downside.
Kind of faked us out a little bit.
It still may be faking us out here.
Yeah, and it's doing that because I said that we don't usually get whipsawed twice in one trade. So I think anytime I say anything, it tends to go the opposite way. So maybe I'll start saying things that I don't believe is going to happen, and it might happen. So we've got 5 minutes left, and then we're going to have
It is trying to get some strength to the U.S. dollar. That's again, the Swiss and the U.S. are pretty much right neck and neck near the. Swiss is trying to take control, but it's struggling a little bit. Let's see where the next 5 minute candle closes. Right there's at 9:30. We're getting pretty close to the open of the U.S. market, and we could get a significant move just before or just after that happens. This thing is forming a bit of a channel in here. This is all basically price action analysis.
Yeah, it's not, you don't need a whole bunch of fancy indicators to do this. And if you're newer to trading, then you know what? Stick the trend lines. Go
Right.
draw the wedges, right?
And right here, we've got all our moving averages, right, consolidated. This right now, there's a battle going on with the 1 minute. All these moving averages are all within about they're within a half a pip of each other right now.
Well, we got 2 minutes left. I think
And then about the time we close this thing down will be the time it's going to break and everyone's going to be on their own.
probably.
So it seems to be the trend here.
Yeah, either we take a break or we go on whatever. It's just it always it tends to happen when we're gone that either things break out or got a whole bunch of alerts. So anyway, really appreciate you guys coming in this morning. We had a really good crowd. If we if you guys ever want to have more interaction or kind of guide the things in a different direction, keep on asking a lot of questions and keeping the chat full and whatnot. So is there anything else you want to say, Al, or what?
No, I think that's about it. And I said we're going to close this down. Let's wait for 1 more minute here and see if we get another alert. And if we do, then we'll just have to, maybe we can draw it real quick before we go.
Yeah, maybe we could do that. Let's see here. This will be a significant candle close anyway. Remember we were talking about the 30-minute and the 15-minute and the 5 and the 1? Well, right now, this is your 30-minute candle. That's why it came in that direction that hard. So
it looks like it's trying, it may.
Just broke that trend line, eh?
Yep.
This is the start of a brand new 30-minute candle. And now we got dueling trend lines. We've got that wedge, which I really like, even though it's broken out of the bottom a couple times and out of the top.
And on that note, it's 9:30. We're going to have to wrap this thing up. We have the wedges drawn. You're on your own with this one. See which way it's going to go. I have your guess as good as mine right now. There's just showing strength, a little bit strength to the downside for the Swiss having the strength. But right now, it's anybody's guess for me right now. And on that note, thanks for coming in, and we will see everybody tomorrow.
Absolutely. All right. Take care, everyone, and happy trading.
I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to stop the recording.
Bye, Ruben. Janine, thank you so much.